Hey guys, I am Pixel Dan, and today we're going to be checking out the world's smallest Masters of the Universe action figures. So these are pretty fun. I've taken a look at some of the world's smallest stuff on this channel in the past, and I've even collected some of it. And it's been pretty neat because basically what they do is they take classic toys and then they just make these little tiny versions of them. So they've really been picking up a lot of licenses recently, and some of the things they've been doing are these tiny action figures, which includes He-Man and Friends. I saw these back at Toy Fair. I got pretty excited about the idea of getting itty-bitty He-Man figures, so I just picked up the first wave, or maybe this is all there's going to be. I'm not sure yet, but it's 4 figures, and we're going to check them out here today. Now, as you can see, if you're not familiar with the world's smallest toys, this is a pretty common packaging for them, where they've got these big kind of clamshell style packages that have the actual little item right there in the center. And with these figures, it's really unique because you can see that they've got tiny little blister cards for the little action figures there. So we're going to get these pulled out to get a closer look at the figures, but this lineup includes Skeletor, He-Man, and Teela, unlike the standard action figure blister. And then we even have one beast in the form of Battle Cat, which I love. So let's go and get these guys cut out of these clamshells, and then we're going to get a closer look at the little tiny action figures. All right, so we got our tiny little packaged Motu figures outside of those bigger clamshells. Before we get started, I will bring in the tape measure here so you guys can see that the little blister cards are about 2.5 inches tall, with the figures themselves only being about 1.5 inches tall. Battle Cat 1 stands just shy of 2 inches. It's about 2.5 inches in length there. So yeah, these are tiny little figures, as you can see. But one of the things that I absolutely love is that these little packages that they're in are made of plastic. Like, these are hard plastic, little blister bubbles there. These card backs, you can see they're actually made of thicker plastic that just have stickers on them. So I actually really like that they are made of an actual like plastic material and not made of paper, or not made of something that is meant to be opened and thrown away, because I think that makes these little minifigures extra cool because it gives you a unique way to display these guys. If you don't want to display them in these little packages, you can open them up, but you can put them back in. And I think that's really, really cool. And just to kind of show you guys that, you can see we got like a little cross-cell on the back that shows the 4 figures in this particular lineup, but you can see there's a little door right here that opens up, and that's how you get the figure out. Before we do that, I do want to talk about the packaging just a little bit more, because this is the part where I'm going to get a little nitpicky. Are you ready for this? These are wholly unique packages, meaning that these designs are brand new. They are similar to what we saw with vintage Masters of the Universe, or even now with Masters of the Universe Origins, because you can see the red bursting rocks back there. But these don't actually look like little carded vintage or Origins Masters of the Universe figures. You know, we've got a square bubble instead of the unique shaped one. We've got the longer, wider card back. We've got cartoon filmation images of the figures off to the side, which did not ever appear on the vintage toys. So they definitely did their own unique thing with these. Now, they're similar. I mean, I actually kind of really like the Battle Cat box here. I think that's really neat. But I'm going to go ahead and be that guy that says, man, I think these would have looked a lot cooler if they were actual mini replicas of the real vintage packaging, complete with the amazing artwork. And if you look at the figures themselves, even the figures are not the same as the vintage figures. They are like kind of new designs. Like Super Impulse basically just came up with their own little designs that are similar to the vintage figures, but they are not exactly the same. And this is interesting because when I'm thinking about the overall world's smallest line, you know, they've done things like Stretch Armstrong, where Stretch Armstrong was an exact miniature replica of the real vintage Stretch Armstrong. They've done, you know, all kinds of different things, like some of the old games like Cooties. They did the Magic 8 Ball. They've done the miniaturized version of the 12-inch original G.I. Joe. All of those looked like the actual things. So I kind of wish these followed suit. Now, they're also doing Transformers and Ninja Turtles right now, and they also are kind of their own thing. They're not like mini vintage figures. So I don't know if it's the licensing, from these different companies, or if it's just something that Super Impulse decided to do on their own. I don't know. I'm being super nitpicky. I'm just saying, wouldn't it have been cool if these were actually miniature replicas of the vintage toys? I think that would have been a little cooler. That's just my opinion, though. Okay, let's get back to looking at these figures. I'll step off my soapbox. I apologize. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get these guys all pulled out of these little packages. So you can see the Battle Cat one kind of folds open on the top. We do have like a little plastic tray that's kind of holding him in place. But let's go ahead and pull the Battle Cat out. Oh, look at this guy. That is so cool. Wow, he's a little softer and gummier than I was expecting, especially on the tail there. Wow, that mask is way not fitting on his head the right way. Okay, so let me make sure I'm not missing anything in here. Looks like that's all that was in there, just these two little plastic pieces to hold them in place, and we got our little Battle Cat there. So we're going to go ahead and look at these guys individually now. So this is how Battle Cat came out of the box. You can see his helmet is not in the best way there. There we go. Looks like we can just pop that off. Yeah, so I can fix the helmet. Oh, it's very loose on the head, though. There you go. So this does look very similar to Vintage Battle Cat. Actually, it looks a lot more like Origins Battle Cat. But, you know, they did a good job. Like, this one right here definitely feels like a miniature version of a Vintage, except he's actually got articulation, which the Vintage one didn't. So, yes, definitely looks more like a miniature version of the modern Origins Battle Cat. Man, I just sound extra nitpicky in this video, don't I? I don't know, I'm sorry. So the helmet is really loose. I wish that kind of stayed on the head better. I mean, look at that. It just falls right off. The eyes are painted a little funky on there. But there's our tiny, tiny, tiny little Battle Cat. My camera is having a hard time focusing on these little guys, so I apologize for that. Let me go ahead and get this opened up. So the figures themselves are really neat because they do have little baggies inside that house their weapons. Look at that. He does have tiny weapons that do look just like the vintage ones. What is with the tiny little knife, though? You guys see that? He's got like a little dagger. That's not a Skeletor weapon at all. Oh, we even got a little figure stand. I do like that. Okay. So we got a little plastic insert bubble there. Let me see if I can get that. Oh, there you go. You got a little thing on the bottom so you can pull it out easily. And now we've got our tiny, tiny little Skeletor figure. I'm going to go ahead and plug him. Or I'm not. There we go. He's got a little hole right there on his right foot. Just like that. We can plug him onto his tiny little display base. Let's see if I can get... It's really hard to get close in on these guys, but you can see the way the face is painted. There is like some tiny little red dots in the eyes. The teeth are kind of painted with black. It's actually pretty cool. And honestly, this does... When you get him out of the package, he's got a bit more of a vintage feel than I thought. But the legs are very straight. I think that's the one thing that's really throwing them off because they're supposed to have the bent legs. So this is his tiny little Havoc staff. Mine is bent, like pretty badly. Let's get this put in his hand. Let's see if he can hold it. Oh, he does not get a good grip on it at all. So he cannot hold this. Unfortunately, his hand is way too big for this tiny little Havoc staff. That's unfortunate. We do have the very vintage-feeling power sword that I'm going to try to plug in here. There we go. Okay, so that works. What is up with the tiny little dagger? I don't get it. I don't know, guys, and there's nowhere to put it. He definitely can't hold that little thing. And why does he come with a dagger? Skeletor doesn't have a dagger. Okay, Skeletor, you're going to stand over here, and apparently you're going to drop all your weapons. I'm going to go for Teela next. So we got Teela inside of her little package here. Gonna pull that open. We're going to slide her out here. All right. So here's our miniature Teela action figure. Again, it's very similar. This one actually does feel a lot more similar to the vintage because, you know, the female figures did have the straight legs. But these are not really... I think the arms are the only point of articulation on these. Maybe the head. See, can you take her armor off? I don't think so. It does look like it's a separate piece, but it doesn't look like that unclips. And then in her bag, so we got the shield. We got Ka, the snake staff. And we've got... tiny little figure stand again. So we're going to go ahead and get Teela on her tiny figure stand. Wow. Very, very gummy legs. I feel like they're going to... You want to be careful. Wow, these are so little. Oh my gosh. Okay. I can't... Ooh, that took some work, but I got the shield clipped onto the wrist. And let's see if she can hold on to her snake staff. Okay, so she definitely gets a better grip than poor Skeletor did with his staff. So we can actually get Teela holding on to the snake staff, which is great. And now we're going to bring in He-Man. Here we go, the final figure from the set. I'm going to go ahead and pull him out. He-Man's armor looks extra bulky. Hey, that little tiny head sculpt's actually pretty cool. I mean, that actually does have a bit of the vintage toy look to it. That is really great. But man, look at these big shoulders and then like this big armor that just looks really funny on there. Yeah, I don't think the armor is even meant to come off. Like, it's a separate piece, but it's glued on the back, it looks like. So let's see. Okay, so what do we get with him? We get the power sword, the axe, and the shield, and another one of those little daggers. So I guess with He-Man, it makes a little bit more sense if we're talking like vintage mini comic style where he had the dagger in his boots. Like Mattel even did that with the recent Origins figure, which was the Comic-Con exclusive. But again, there's nowhere to put this tiny little dagger, and it's way too little for him to actually. Can he hold it? Oh, I'm shocked. I'm shocked. He-Man can hold the little dagger, but it does feel a little out of place with this. All right, so let's get the stand on there. Okay, so we got the battle axe. Let me see. Tiny little weapons here. We got the battle axe and we got the shield. These definitely have more of the Masters of the Universe Origins feel to them because, you know, they don't have the same detail. Like the axe specifically doesn't have the same detail as the vintage one, and the shield is rounded like the Origins one. So let's see. How does this work on him? Just clips on his wrist? Well, that's gone. Hang on a second. Get ready to fumble around with these a lot. So look, it's got the handle on the underside, but it's solid. He can't actually hold it. So it doesn't clip on his hand very good. There we go. I got it. Okay. Now, interestingly, he does have the power sword, which looks really cool, and it's painted silver. So the rest of the accessories are gray, like the actual vintage toy, but the power sword is silver, so it really stands out. Let's see. Can we get it in his hand okay? There we go. We can get the power sword in his hand. So there is our tiny little He-Man. Now, this is going to be interesting. Can we get on Battle Cat? Oh, hey, we can get on Battle Cat. So there we go. He doesn't sit all the way down, but there's what your He-Man looks like on our tiny little Battle Cats. Man, that's actually pretty fun. That is pretty fun. Hey, so there you go. There is a nice look. Some good first impressions, I guess. I just opened these right here in the video, but first impressions, a good look at the world's smallest Masters of the Universe figures. These are a mixed bag for me, if I'm being totally honest. You know, Skeletor can't hold the Havoc staff. It's bent. I mean, they're really, really little. But here's the deal. These are supposed to just kind of be like, I mean, it's the gimmick of this whole thing, right? These are a novelty toy. I could totally see people having fun with these for like action figure photography, like giving their action figures to play with. I think that's a really, really fun idea. I think these are going to display better inside those little packages because these little tiny figures outside have a hard time with their weapons and they're so little. You're definitely going to lose some things, so be careful with that. But they're fun. They're fun. And if they look like something that you might like, they're pretty easy to get. I actually picked mine up from Big Bad Toy Store, so I will link them in the video description there. But I know that these have also shown up on places like Amazon. They're showing up in stores that carry World's Smallest. So yeah, they're fun. They're a fun novelty. That's basically it. Thanks for watching, guys, and until next time.
The Toys of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe is available for pre-order now. This official guidebook is published by Dark Horse Books and features over 750 pages of photos and information on your favorite He-Man and She-Ra action figures. And don't miss out on the exclusive bundle pack available for pre-order now from PowerCon. This bundle includes the official guide as well as an exclusive character guide supplement that you won't be able to buy anywhere else. Don't miss out. You have the power.